Get ready, because tomorrow's new moon isn't just another one on the calendar. Something subtle, yet deeply powerful, is shifting. And right now, it's as if a curtain is being drawn between you and the rest of the world. This isn't a mistake. You're not meant to be fully visible right now. The energy of this new moon is wrapping you in a kind of invisibility cloak, a soft veil that's almost impossible to describe. It's not hiding you. It's protecting something precious that's forming within you. The universe is paying close attention right now, and solitude is not a punishment. It's intentional. It's part of the design. If you've already felt that inner tug to pull back, to go quiet, or if you've noticed that others don't quite seem to understand you lately, like they misinterpret your tone or energy, it's not just in your head. That's the veil moving through you, guiding you inward. Let me know if you've been feeling this too, if you sense it's already started to unfold in your life. And during this new moon, something more is going to be offered to you. A kind of code, a message. But you'll have to be fully present and paying attention to notice what it really is. I'll explain more about why that matters in a bit. But first, there's something even more delicate happening beneath the surface. There's something forming inside you right now that won't survive being exposed too early. It's fragile, like a seed just beginning to root. And some things, the most sacred and transformative things, can only grow in silence. This moon knows that. It's not handing out loud revelations or clear-cut answers. It's planting possibilities. And if you try to show them to others too soon, if you try to explain what's unfolding or talk it through before it's ready, it will wither. It's like cutting open fruit that hasn't ripened. It bruises quickly, and the sweetness you were waiting for never comes. Some of the most powerful insights you're receiving right now are not meant to be spoken yet. They aren't secrets in the traditional sense. They're vibrations, and vibrations are most alive before they're put into words. Say them too soon, and they vanish. Write them down, and their shape might change. Share them with someone who doesn't understand, and they might disappear altogether. This moon is asking you something profound. Can you carry your vision quietly, without needing to validate it? Can you let it grow in peace without interference? Because something is whispering to you, something new and wild and true, but it's still in its early stages. It hasn't fully revealed itself yet. And then comes the real shift, the part that might unsettle you before it comforts you. What happens when this moon resets your internal compass, but it doesn't feel like clarity at first? When the deepest, truest parts of you are too raw to show up, a copy of you often takes over instead. Around others, you might notice this version slip into place without warning. It smiles, it responds, it knows how to behave, and it makes everything look easy. But that version isn't really you. It's the substitute self. It's not bad or broken. It exists to help you function when you're energetically overwhelmed. But it's also hollow. It doesn't feel joy the way you do. It doesn't hold the depth you're here to live. After time with others, you might come home feeling empty, like you missed something meaningful, but can't quite name what it was. Maybe you've even caught yourself mid-sentence, wondering why you're speaking a certain way, or asking yourself, who am I performing for right now? That's the truth of it. The stand-in version of you knows how to perform. It offers up the smoothest, most acceptable emotions. But none of it is real, and every time this version steps in, your true self slips a little further away. This moon isn't asking you to keep playing along. It doesn't want the polished version of you. It wants what's real, even if that means being quiet, even if it means staying home or stepping away. Because while that substitute self might help you survive the moment, it also keeps you cut off from the very things that bring you to life. Authenticity, connection, joy, truth. And those things can't reach you through a mask. Meaning can't find you when you're pretending. That's why, if you can, give yourself permission to pause. Don't force yourself to go out and play a role. Don't wear the mask just to keep others comfortable. This moment, this moon, is a reset, and you'll only truly experience it if you stay close to the original, unfiltered version of you. And there's something even deeper to this unraveling. It's about the masks we wear, not just in public, but even within ourselves. The deepest layer we're being asked to release right now is the need to be seen. Real freedom doesn't come from finally being recognized or acknowledged. It comes from no longer needing that validation at all. This new moon is less about feeling, more and more about shedding. And the first thing that needs to go is the compulsion to care. About everything, about everyone's opinions, about constantly shaping yourself to match what others expect. Not in a cold or numb way. Not in the way that disconnects you, but in a way that liberates you from the illusion that you have to manage every moment, every impression, every emotion. We've been taught to constantly monitor ourselves, to care deeply about how we're seen, how we respond, how our worth is measured through other people's eyes. But this moon is laser-focused in its wisdom. It sees all that caring as a kind of tether. And if you're tethered to the way you're perceived, you're already caught. You're already caged. Here's where it gets even more interesting. During this moon, your care becomes a form of currency, and there are people, energies, and situations that are more than ready to spend it for you. Someone doesn't text you back, and suddenly you're hooked. Someone makes a strange remark, and you can't stop thinking about it. A look, a tone, a feeling that you've been misunderstood. It all spirals until you feel the need to fix it, explain it, make it right. But what happens if you just don't? What happens if you let it be? What if the most radical thing you can do right now is to stop handing your energy over so freely? To stop leaking your essence into every interaction that doesn't deserve it? This moon isn't coming with fireworks or loud revelations. It's coming with quiet, with stillness, with a soft voice that only you can hear if you're willing to stop performing and truly listen. It's not asking for effort. It's asking for presence. It's not testing your strength. It's showing you where your energy truly lives when it's not being poured into masks and misunderstandings. Let the world get you wrong. Let them assume. Let them misread. And don't bother setting the record straight. There's no need to offer the perfect comeback. No pressure to check the mirror twice. No reason to chase down the friction that shows up out of nowhere. This new moon doesn't ask you to explain. It invites you to detach in a way that's more freeing than cold. Not apathy, but a kind of liberation that comes when you stop caring for just a moment. And in that pause, you fall off the radar. You become light, untraceable. You float beyond the reach of the energies that once kept you tethered, spinning, and small. Ask yourself, what would happen if you didn't worry about how this moment looked to anyone else? Who might you become if you didn't feel the need to prove anything, to respond, to fix, or even to be understood? Because right now, invisibility holds a kind of sacred power. If you can release the need to be seen or validated, even just for a few hours, you might move through the tightest lock this moon offers, quietly, unnoticed, untouched, completely free. But don't get too comfortable. The work of this moon doesn't end there. There's something strange in the air tonight. And it's not just in your imagination. It's a spiritual static that's brushing up against everyone, even the people who claim not to believe in energy, intuition, or any of this unseen stuff. Everyone's aura is a little loose right now. Boundaries are blurred. The energy fields that usually keep people contained within their own emotional lanes have unraveled. That's why you may feel overwhelmed, drained, or slightly off, even after the most casual encounter. This isn't about sensitivity. It's not just you. Even the calmest, most grounded souls are leaking into spaces they usually don't enter. That's the effect of this moon. It dissolves energetic borders. People can't always tell when they're leaning too far into someone else's field. So when conversations stretch on too long, or someone suddenly overshares, or when you leave a room feeling like you've picked up emotions that aren't yours, you probably have. People are radiating confusion. They're unsure of where they end and where others begin. And this is why stepping away isn't avoidance. It's self-preservation. Because the moment you start absorbing the emotional residue of others, it becomes incredibly difficult to know what's truly yours. Thoughts that don't belong to you start running on repeat. Emotions rooted in someone else's trauma begin to feel like your own. You start carrying burdens that were never meant to be yours. Right now, empathy isn't just a gift. It's also a doorway. And unless you choose to close that door, even temporarily, you may lose your sense of center. Not because people are dangerous, but because they're slippery. They're shape-shifting, energetically speaking. So are you, if you're not careful. Now isn't the time for deep conversations. This isn't the moment to unpack heavy truths or try to sort out what's rising within you by speaking it into someone else's field. Silence is your shield. Stillness is your sanctuary. Give yourself space until the energies recalibrate, until people return to themselves and you return to yourself. Because something is watching, something vast is scanning, and you don't want to be standing in the wrong energetic crowd when it locks its gaze. Here's the part almost no one is talking about. What happens if this universal eye opens and catches you standing in the middle of misaligned frequencies? What happens if you're surrounded by borrowed energy, wrapped in other people's unresolved stories? The cosmic lens doesn't make distinctions. It doesn't wait for clarity. It sees presence, not essence. If you're caught in that moment, tangled up in someone else's vibe, the universe files you away with a version of yourself that isn't true. That's how it works. It reads the energy of the group you're in. It captures a snapshot. And if you're in the wrong scene when the shutter clicks, you get categorized by mistake. That's how you end up waking a few days later wondering why everything feels just a little off. Why your conversations feel scripted. Why people respond to you in strange, unfamiliar ways. It's like stepping into a role you never agreed to play, wearing a version of yourself you don't recognize. This isn't paranoia. It's energetic misplacement. Bureaucracy of the cosmos. The great eye above doesn't judge. It doesn't care. It simply records what it sees, and what it sees is shaped by proximity, not authenticity. That's why invisibility matters right now. Pull yourself out of the frame. Let yourself dissolve into the background for just a little longer. This isn't about hiding. It's about refusing to be edited into a collective image that doesn't represent who you really are. Because once the image is captured and stored, it becomes harder to untangle yourself from the distortion. If you want to re-emerge in your true form, unshaped by the chaotic, confused energy that's swirling around, then now is the time to vanish. Wait until the cosmic shutter closes. Wait until the fields around you stop shifting. Wait until the lens resets. And when it opens again, you'll be standing there clear, aligned, untagged, and completely ready. This moon is ushering in a strange kind of performance energy. Starting June 25th, people might begin projecting things onto you. Roles, narratives, expectations that were never yours to hold. It'll feel theatrical, like a fog of scripts and spotlights you didn't audition for. And unless you step out now, you might find yourself accidentally reciting lines meant for someone else's life, and the moon's influence is already weaving its way into the atmosphere. It's quiet, nearly imperceptible at first. But it's here. And if you're paying attention, you've probably already started noticing it. Napil are beginning to speak in ways that feel oddly out of place. Words surface that don't seem to match the conversation. Someone will suddenly say something that's oddly sharp or hauntingly familiar. It's not cruel, and it's not random, but it's unmistakably strange. You can feel it. It's like they're reciting lines from a script you've never read, or worse, one that was written about your life, but never by you. Maybe you're standing in line at a store and someone says something that hits deeper than it should. Or a text comes through that feels unusually heavy, and you can't explain why. Even someone close to you might offer advice or comfort, and yet it hits wrong. Not because they're insincere, but because they're tuned into a frequency you're no longer on. It's as if their voice is carrying something that doesn't quite belong to them. What's happening right now is a distortion. A field of energy has shifted, and it's causing telepathic noise in the collective. When the energetic frequency goes fuzzy, people start to speak in ways that are out of sync with their own truth. They become unwitting mirrors for energy that isn't theirs, echoes of emotions and thoughts that belong to others. These echoes come through in tone, timing, and content, and they're being projected right at you. The real danger here isn't darkness or malice, it's misalignment. And if you're not grounded in your own center, you'll be tempted to respond. You'll slip into the dialogue like it's your own, replying from a place that doesn't belong to you. And every time you do, it pulls you further away from your own clarity. It's subtle, but it sticks. The more you engage in words that aren't rooted in your truth, the harder it becomes to recognize your real voice. You weren't born to live someone else's storyline. And yet, during times like these, when the energetic veil gets thin and strange conversations surface, it's easy to get drawn into a script you never agreed to. That's the trap. Not because the people around you mean harm, they likely don't, but because something is interfering with their ability to communicate cleanly. Something is hijacking intention, manipulating the delivery just enough to throw everything slightly off-center. And this is why your greatest act of self-protection right now isn't just to pull away. It's to discern. You must ask yourself, is this mine? Does this belong to me? Or have I been accidentally cast in a play that isn't mine to act in? Even well-meaning moments can become bait. The urge to explain yourself, to comfort someone, to fix or respond, it's strong. But you need to pause. You need to be still enough to recognize when a conversation doesn't belong to your path. If something doesn't feel precise, if it doesn't feel like it was meant for you, let it go. Let the sentence dangle. Let the conversation end without resolution. Let silence be the only response. Because what's waiting for you in that silence is something rare. This moon doesn't speak in grand gestures. It doesn't come crashing in with lightning bolts or dramatic revelations. It doesn't need to. Instead, It offers a quiet threshold, a secret doorway. And this doorway won't open unless the space around it, and within you, is absolutely still. This isn't about meditation. It isn't about intention. It's not even about healing. It's about stillness so complete that your inner voice grows quieter and quieter until it too disappears. In that moment, there's nothing left but presence. No thoughts, no rehearsals, just an internal hush that feels sacred. That's when it happens. A lock turns, not metaphorically, but in a very real, very precise, energetic way. You might feel it as a subtle shift in your posture, a deepening of your breath, a change in the way your name feels when you say it out loud. That's the signal. That's how you know you've reached it. These kinds of doors don't respond to noise. They don't open if even one stray frequency is echoing within you. The soul requires more than just quiet. It demands void. A space emptied of everyone else's expectations, projections, and scripts. That's what this moon is asking from you. Not effort, not action, but surrender. If you've been sensing that there's a version of you behind a veil just beyond reach, if you've been feeling like there's something waiting for you once you finally stop trying to meet everyone else where they are, then you're close. That's the edge. That's the point where everything begins to shift. There's nothing you need to do except become so still, so internally quiet, that the universe doesn't just notice you, it hears you before you speak. It hears the frequency of your being, and in return, it delivers something specific. Not symbolic, not poetic, real. This moon isn't here to just stir your emotions. It's here to deliver a transmission, one that comes coded, subtle, and silent. If you're not alone, truly alone, you'll miss it. If you're caught in someone else's emotional weather, you'll miss it. It's not dramatic, but it is exact. June 25th's new moon isn't performing for your attention. It's broadcasting a message, a pure, high-frequency code that aligns with a version of you that only emerges when you are completely clear. You don't need to decode it now. You only need to be present enough to receive it. That's what this moon is about. The moment after the silence. The click you don't hear with your ears, but with your spirit. The door that doesn't open for noise. The truth that doesn't arrive in a sentence, but in a knowing. It's like being dropped into the middle of a sentence. Something delicate and precise, passed on when the world thinks you aren't paying attention. If your thoughts are cluttered, if your focus is scattered, if someone else's energy is louder than your own, you could miss it entirely. What's being offered isn't a lesson or a challenge. It's more like a key, a quick flash of insight that's meant to shift the entire way you navigate something deeply important. It could be a sentence that suddenly hits you differently, a memory that returns and touches a new nerve, a feeling or an image that seems perfectly timed, but only if you're tuned in. This isn't something that shouts for your attention. It hums. It slides in quietly and disappears just as fast. Every once in a while, the universe doesn't try to teach you. It just slips you the answer. And if you're not there to receive it, it's gone. This moon doesn't wait for you to get ready. It's not warm or patient. It doesn't come back around with another chance. It moves with cold, clean precision. If you space out in the middle of a conversation, if you catch yourself staring into space, or if you suddenly feel overwhelmed without knowing why, that could be the moment. But if you immediately pick up your phone, distract yourself, or try to explain it away to someone else, the moment dissolves. What's being transmitted doesn't always arrive in numbers or messages you can decode logically. Sometimes it shows up as a metaphor, a glance, a symbol that returns from a dream and reappears in real life. Maybe it's a line from a movie you've seen a dozen times, but suddenly it hits you differently, like it was placed there just for you. But you won't hear it if you're being watched. You won't see it if your mind is full. Alone doesn't just mean you're by yourself physically. It means you've cleared space in your mind too. Even the voice in your head has to hush. Most people don't miss these transmissions because they're hidden. They miss them because their lives are too loud. This moon is offering a kind of laser-focused clarity, not for the whole world, but for you. Something in your path is aligning, and the mechanism delivering it only works through silence and solitude. Think of it like listening to the tumblers of a safe click into place. It requires patience, sensitivity, stillness. You can't force it. You have to feel the moment, catch the sound, recognize the shift, and once it passes, that specific alignment won't return. It's not about failure or missed opportunities. It's about the way certain truths only appear once. Like a shooting star you have to be looking up to see. This moon doesn't want you distracted. It doesn't want you in conversation too soon or sharing what you don't yet understand. It's not a group message. It's a private download tailored to your own timeline, your own soul's direction. You don't need approval. You don't need witnesses. You just need to be still long enough for the message to form in the silence. This isn't about attending someone else's ceremony. It's about showing up to your own. Not every sacred moment comes with music and candles. Some happen quietly, in the unnoticed parts of your day, in the way your breath slows for no reason, in the way your attention slips into a softer focus, in the space between the version of you that's fading and the one that's beginning to take shape. This isn't about claiming something or taking a bold step forward. It's about recognizing a subtle reconfiguration that's already happening deep within. A recalibration of your inner compass, a shifting of your soul's coordinates. And this change doesn't require applause. In fact, the more people you have around you, the harder it becomes to recognize it. You aren't here to cheer for someone else's breakthrough while your own transformation goes unnoticed. This moon is creating a sacred space just for you. If your energy is too wrapped up in someone else's story, if you're too invested in playing a role in their evolution, you'll find yourself standing in the wrong place, facing the wrong direction. It's not about being selfish. It's about recognizing the sacredness of what's happening inside you. You've been called. And you can't answer that call while you're clapping at someone else's altar. Maybe you've already felt it. The discomfort in a crowd, the strange sadness in conversations that don't go anywhere, the sense that something's being missed. That feeling isn't social fatigue. It's not anxiety. It's your inner self trying to guide you back to your own ceremony. Rebirth doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's as simple as choosing not to respond. As soft as staying home instead of joining the noise. As quiet as pausing mid-sentence and letting the silence speak instead. This moon is syncing your awareness to a precise moment. One the universe has been orchestrating for a long time. A moment when, if you're paying attention, you can see yourself with radical clarity, not through someone else's lens, not shaped by expectation or feedback, but in your rawest, most truthful state. That kind of moment can't be forced. It can't be scheduled. It can't be explained away. It doesn't need a witness. It needs you, present, still, open. It's an invitation to step out of the noise, not to escape the world, but to finally hear the part of you that's always been whispering beneath it all. And in that whisper lies something that could change everything, not through grand gestures, but through the smallest shift in perception. This moon isn't offering a spotlight. it's opening a door. And all you have to do is be quiet enough to walk through it. This shift isn't really about your job, your relationships, or even how you define yourself. It moves through something much deeper, the part of you that was there long before all of that. And it's not about doing anything to make it happen. It's about being present when it does. You'll know the moment arrives, not because of some dramatic explosion, but because something inside you finally comes to rest. Something that's been circling, unsettled, and unnamed for so long will gently come to land. A part of you that's never felt fully seen will suddenly feel recognized, but only if you're still enough to notice. So when the world starts pulling at you, when people try to involve you in their chaos, their drama, their need to be validated, pause. Remember, you were never meant to attend their ceremony. You were called to your own. On June 25th, silence holds a different kind of power. It's not absence. It's a profound way of being present. In moments like these, speaking too much can actually cloud the clarity that's trying to reach you. This isn't the time to force answers, rush decisions, or keep trying to explain things to others. Whatever you're still hoping to understand, whatever you're trying to say out loud, let it go. Let the quiet do what it came to do. You're not being asked to declare what you've realized. You don't need to explain why you've gone quiet or what's changing within you. This moon already knows. It's inscribing it all into your energetic field. You just need to be still long enough to let it settle, to let it take root. Stay with it. Be there when the ink finishes drying. If you're still here, thank you for being present with this message. If this resonated with you and you'd like to explore more content like this, consider subscribing. Your support truly means a lot. And if you feel called to share your own experience or reflections, the comments are always open. Until next time, take gentle care of yourself and stay tuned for more.